welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well, at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. Hey, what's going on, Ram fans? Sneaking in an episode here on Sunday morning, a day and a half out from the big game with the Vikings. Going to share my 18 observations, random observations across the NFL and a little bit of college football as well. Now, this is episode 636, and episode 634, I was all set to talk about a player who wore number 34 for the Rams, and then Ian had his breaking news episode and some other stuff happened, and I didn't get to it. I'm going to get to it now. Hey, it's just a number, right? I don't want to wait another 98 episodes to talk about number 34 running back Les Josephson. 6'1", 207 pounds, out of Augustana College in South Dakota. Undrafted, signed by the Cowboys after the 1964 draft, but they needed an offensive tackle, so they traded him to the Rams for Jim Boakey. And the rookie running back joined the Rams, played alongside Roman Gabriel, earned the nickname the Blonde Bull. Pulled that from a website. I had never heard that before. So he played 10 years for the Rams, 1964 through 1974, missing the entire 1968 season with an Achilles injury. We'll talk about that in a second. So his entire career with the Rams, 3,407 yards rushing, 1,970 yards receiving, had a total of 28 TDs, was named to the 1967 Pro Bowl with a career best 800 yards rushing. At the time of his retirement, third highest rushing total in Rams history, currently eighth, sandwiched between Deacon Dan Towler and Wendell Tyler. Now, about that injury, ran across a YouTube channel that talked about this by Official Jaguar Gator 9 was the name of the channel. So 1968 preseason game at the Coliseum. Josephson is running out for the introductions and slips and falls on the Coliseum concrete. Hey, he spoke to it. He said, it wasn't wet. There was no reason for it. I just slipped and fell and hurt himself significantly and missed the entire season, running out for introductions. Les Josephson, the Blonde Bull, number 34 for the Los Angeles Rams. Okay, let's roll into my 18 observations. Observation number 1. Looks like it might be a consensus. Jared Verse and Braden Fisk will be named to most of the all-rookie teams, the ones that matter anyways. Jared Verse is a certainty. Braden Fisk, looks like he will as well. And some other Rams showing up on second-team all-rookie teams. Omar Spates, Cam Kinchens, and Joshua Carty. So we're looking at 5 Rams that will be likely named to most of the all-rookie teams. Not too shabby. And my second observation, let's review this Rams 2024 draft one more time. Why? Because it's fun. This draft will go down as one of the best ever for our Los Angeles Rams, I think. Jared Verse, All-Pro. Braden Fisk, 41 tackles, 8.5 sacks. Going to be named to some all-rookie teams. Blake Corum, a little bit of a question mark there, but it looks like he has what it takes to be a productive NFL running back. To what magnitude to be determined. Cam Kinchens, solid rookie year. Brandon Jackson, another question mark, but there's time. Sometimes it takes those outside linebackers, edge rushers, a little time to develop. 5th-round pick. We'll see if it works out. And then 3 6th-round picks that are contributing significantly. Tyler Davis, Jordan Whittington, and Bo Limmer. Especially Limmer, starting center, and Whittington. We're all pretty excited about what Whittington can do for this Rams team moving forward. KT Leviston, a complete unknown at this point. It'd be nice if one of our Rams insiders could fill us in on what's going on with KT Leviston. And I haven't even mentioned 2 undrafted free agents that have really contributed as well. Jalen McCullough and Omar Spates. Observation number 3, back to Jordan Whittington. I was on the Morning Inspection YouTube channel the other day. They share some Rams content on occasion. Pretty good channel, good stuff. And they asked this question of Ram fans: who's the player that non-Ram fans should be keeping an eye on in this Monday Night Football game? Who could contribute, come out of nowhere, and have a big impact on the game? And basically, the consensus was among Ram fans, it was Jordan Whittington, and I shared that as well. And someone asked me if I had heard that on another podcast or YouTube channel. And I was like, absolutely not. Ian and Paul and I have been talking about that for several weeks, maybe even months. Jordan Whittington needs to be more involved in this offense. Now, I don't know if Sean McVay can pull the trigger on that, reduce Cooper Kupp's snaps in favor of Jordan Whittington. Probably not. But Jordan Whittington, I'm really excited about what he could do for this team if his snap counts increased. Observation number 4, the Rams point spread. They're now 2.5-point underdogs. It was, I think that's where it opened, got down to 1.5. I think the Sharps were going in on the Rams. Might have even been down to 1 in some places, basically a pick 'em, but now back up to 2.5 due to this relocation of the game to Arizona. Not sure if it's really going to have that much impact, but we'll see. And observation number 5, as far as this so-called home field advantage being up for grabs, I'm going to be a little naive here, but maybe it's just how I'm wired. I'd have a hard time taking advantage of this situation if it was flipped and the Rams had the opportunity to play in a neutral site rather than travel to, say, Minnesota, and then my thought process being, hey, Minnesota is trying to get through a natural disaster of mega proportions. The game's been moved. Let's flood that stadium with Rams fans. I don't know. I don't think I could go there, but that's just me. By the way, the Rams will be in the visitors' locker room because they are used to it, playing there once a year. And, I'm not sure how much help Stan Kroenke really needs getting the players' families and pets and all that to Arizona out of LA for this football game. But still, gotta give a shout out to Michael Bidwell, the Cardinals owner. And he was very adamant, hey, people need to step up and do the right thing. Observation number 6, Chargers. Looks like a beat down on the scoreboard, but I'm telling you, they're still a better team than the Texans. I'm not going to put this performance on the disruption in preparation caused by the fire. I mean, to me, it came down to Will Disley's 2 drops and a couple of other really strange plays. Not a good look for the Chargers. I thought things were changing under Harbaugh, but maybe not. Chargers doing Charger stuff, but I felt bad for them. I was rooting for them. I was hoping to have an LA versus LA Super Bowl, especially given what's happening in Los Angeles right now, but we'll have to wait another year. Observation number 7 on that game, Cameron Dicker. I don't know what he was thinking, but that's just another example of, Chargers, field goals, extra points, the kicking game. They have had so many similar occurrences in their history where things going wrong in that part of the game. And add this Dicker play, if you missed it, just had an 86-yard touchdown play. Herbert to Ladd McConkey. Looked like they're going to get back into the game, and then Dicker's extra point is blocked, goes flying up into the air. Infield fly rule. Dicker doesn't catch it, though. He bats it forward, and the Texans scoop it up and run it back for 2 points. Yes, that's what happened. Unbelievable. And observation number 8, I'm going to have to pat myself on the back here. I talked ad nauseum about Ladd McConkey leading up to last year's draft. I thought he was going to be a steal, a great player, a poor man's Cooper Kupp, and he's getting it done. Had a really big game against the Texans. I'm just so happy that the 49ers took Ricky Pearsall instead of Ladd McConkey. Pearsall selected late in the first, McConkey early in the second. And, Ricky Pearsall is probably going to be a fine receiver, but I think I'd rather have Ladd McConkey. Observation number 9, something kind of fun about watching the Steelers get bullied. Derrick Henry, 186 yards rushing. Steelers season is over. And that's another one I called correctly. Steelers are going nowhere, is what I said. Good football team, much respect, how they get things done. They're always competitive. And why are people talking about Mike Tomlin leaving? He's not leaving unless Tomlin decides that's what he wants to do. Observation number 10, the Dallas Cowboys are really going to bring back Mike McCarthy. That really surprises me. I don't think Jerry Jones wants a coach that steals the spotlight from him, and McCarthy is not going to do that. He's also not going to win a lot of NFC championships or Super Bowls. That's how I feel about that. And why aren't teams talking about Marcus Freeman, the Notre Dame coach? Love this guy. 39 years old, played at Ohio State, by the way. So he's going to be coaching against his alma mater in the college football championship game. 5th round pick of the Bears in 2009. Didn't play long, though. Moved on to coaching. Love this guy. Marcus Freeman, he'd be a great fit for a franchise that maybe is a little less in the spotlight, a team like Jacksonville, maybe. Love the culture he brings to his football team. Observation number 11, some other coaching news. Mike Vrabel to the Patriots, apparently, and the Raiders are going to go after Ben Johnson, perhaps. If I'm Ben Johnson, he's a brilliant offensive mind, obviously, maybe the best in the business. Stick to that. That's what Ernie Zampese did. He said, I don't want to be a head coach. I'm the best play designer and play caller on the planet. I'm going to sit up here upstairs, watch the game, call plays, draw cool stuff up on a chalkboard, and this is going to be my legacy. I think Ben Johnson should do the same. Of course, Zampese also liked to chain smoke, and that was one of the reasons he didn't want to be on the sideline. Ben Johnson, man, stick to offensive coordinating. You're the best. Hey, maybe you'll be a great head coach too, but who knows? Maybe it'll work out. Observation number 12. Wasn't it just rich watching Steve Sarkisian complaining about a targeting call in that loss to Ohio State? And it wasn't targeting, by the way. After the refs put their whistles in their pockets during the game against ASU, pretty much saving Texas, they were surely going to lose. Well, not surely. They were probably going to lose that game to Arizona State. It was targeting in that instance. Refs didn't want to let that call decide the game. And then Sarkisian's over there complaining about a non-targeting call. And speaking of Sarkisian, I'm sorry, man, but his street cred is really going to take a hit after that toss play call at the end of the game there. Observation number 13, one last comment on college football. I said Ohio State was the best team in college football before the playoffs started. Thought it was a real bummer that they faced off with Oregon in that early round. And I don't care what happened against Michigan. They certainly laid an egg in that game, but they're the best team. Now, Notre Dame, though, has a real edge as far as coaching and culture, so they will make a game of it. I'm taking Ohio State to win that game. 9.5 point spread, though. I would take Notre Dame in the points. They are going to make this competitive, but Ohio State will win. And observation number 14, Sarkisian kind of threw his players under the bus when asked about that toss play I mentioned, saying, hey, if it's blocked correctly, we score there. We didn't block it. He's probably being honest. Maybe it's harsh to say he was throwing his players under the bus, but maybe he should have said that was a bad play call. But talking about coaches throwing their players under a bus, did you hear Mick Cronin, the UCLA basketball coach? Man, he took it to another level. And I love the guy. I think he's one of the best coaches in college basketball, especially when you're talking about coaching defense. But he was basically saying his players, after blowing a big lead, that they were delusional. They think they're great and they're not. He basically said he feels like he's the only one that works hard. Players and the rest of his coaches do not step to the plate in that regard. And mixed opinions on what he did there. His players certainly needed to hear it. I'm sure they'd already heard it from him, but he's doing it out in public. And I heard others, including Dan Patrick, really coming down hard on Mick Cronin, saying that's not coaching. I don't know. I'm kind of okay with it. I think he's got a good enough track record. He knows how to coach. He knows how to motivate players. and he's probably been trying to do just that. And what he has been trying to do, what he's done in the past, perhaps, is not working in this case. So he blew up his team for the nation to see. We'll see how the team responds. I think so far it hasn't been good, though. Mick Cronin may be in a little bit of trouble, actually, because of this press conference, but I still support Mick Cronin. I hope he sticks around. Observation number 15, more of a public service announcement here, a programming note. Paul Wally and I have already started working up to the 2025 draft. We'll be getting a lot of content out. We took a preliminary look at the tight ends, and next up, we'll be looking at wide receivers in the next few weeks, try to find a good time to do that, fit it in, try to sneak it in without disrupting our content covering the Rams' Super Bowl run here that we're witnessing. But we're thinking the Rams are going to draft a wide receiver for sure. They have 4 under contract next year. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Jordan Whittington, and Xavier Smith. So they're going to draft one if they don't go after a significant addition in free agency. Demarcus Robinson, Tyler Johnson, and Tutu Atwell, all unrestricted free agents. Observation number 16 about that 2025 NFL draft from the Rams' perspective. They do not have a second-round pick. Remember, they gave that up to move up and draft Braden Fisk, which was still the right move. So that first-round pick, going to be late in the first round, right? Hopefully number 32. But they would not have another pick until late in the third round, maybe number 96. They're going to have to make a move, somehow get into that second round, I'm thinking, if they want to replenish this roster, especially at the wide receiver position. And if they don't re-sign Alaric Jackson, man, got to find a left tackle. Of course, they've been so good in the 5th and 6th round, and they do have 3 6-rounders in this draft. Hey, maybe they'll snag an all-pro left tackle and wide receiver in the 6th round in 2025. Hey, we can't count on them doing that every year, but they're going to have to hit it in those late rounds in the 2025 draft if they cannot find a way to work their way back up into the second round. And that may mean moving back, giving up that late first-round pick, picking up a couple in the second round perhaps. Observation number 17, those last two, getting back to this Rams-Vikings game. To me, one of the biggest questions for me, one of the biggest factors in this game is what approach is Brian Flores and his defense going to take against this Rams offense? Are they going to bring the heat, try to shorten Matthew Stafford's clock, put some pressure on this Rams offensive line? Are they going to stay back a little? And I guess what the Rams have done this week, saw someone made a pretty big deal about this. I don't know if it was a YouTube channel or a podcast or an article I read. It's all blur at this point, but apparently Rams senior defensive assistant, associate head coach Sean Desai had been tasked this week for pretending he's Brian Flores, looking at the Rams tape, looking at the Rams offense and asking him, what would Brian Flores do? And you know what? I would figure they do this every week, don't they? I would hope so, but Sean Desai playing Brian Flores this week, helping the Rams offense prepare. Hopefully Desai's guesswork is pretty spot on, and it allows the Rams to tweak their offensive approach to deal with what they think Brian Flores is going to bring against this Rams offense. That to me is one of the biggest factors in this game. The Brian Flores versus Sean McVay chess match could very well determine the outcome of this game. Observation number 18. We all remember the Rams started 1-4 this year before going on another mid-season, late-season roll. And according to an article written by Yahoo Sports' Adam Grosbard, the turnaround may have been largely due to a change in approach by Sean McVay. Apparently, he has weekly meetings with Aubrey Pleasant, and they discuss possible areas of improvement, and apparently Pleasant advised McVay to be more present, especially in defensive meetings and with defensive players. Quoting from the article, spend less time on game preparations, particularly on the offensive end where McVay has made his name. Be more present around the team facility from defensive meetings to the training room, end quote. And Pleasant said, hey, I thought it would just be a really good idea. We have a phenomenal leader, a really young team. Let's make this change. And apparently they did. Now, I don't know if there's a cause effect going on here, but the biggest takeaway for me is a coaching staff and a leader who's willing to make changes, to step back, ask for advice, and implement the changes that are suggested. And that is the mark of a great leader. So salute to Aubrey Pleasant and Sean McVay. It worked this year. I know a lot of leaders I've worked with that could use this advice. Ask for input, make changes as needed. Don't always stick to what has worked in the past. That's how you fall behind, not looking ahead and finding ways of improvement. And that's what this Rams team has done in more ways than one. Man, it's great to be a Rams fan. Now we just need to go out and get a W and maybe get a home game back at SoFi. Wouldn't that be sweet? That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.